Hello and welcome to episode 461 of the Steel Cage Podcast. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as Stardust, and I am joined by a four-man crew of mischief makers to talk about all the wrestling goodness that we have to talk about this week. First, he just bought Ring of Honor from Tony Khan, who just bought Ring of Honor. It's the one and only Uncle Beak.
Whoa, right. Deep pockets. My pockets run deep, son.
I know you wanted it just for the video library. Admit it.
It's true.
It's for the memes.
Got me.
You did it for
you
the
got
memes. Also joining us is my baby daddy. It's the one and only Neo X.
Hey, y'all. Good morning.
Yeah, Neo's not awake right now, but we're going to give him some time. We're going to give him some time to get some coffee, and then he'll be around. Of course, we're also joined by the founder and proprietor of this thing we call the Steel Cage. It's the one and only Joshua Schlag.
Yeah, Neo needs some coffee. The rest of us need some beer.
Yeah, we all need beer. We all need lots of things because apparently the wrestling industry is being taken over by two entities at this point, it seems like. Good luck on putting together that AJ Styles package, WWE, that you were planning to. It was announced tonight at AEW Dynamite that Tony Khan has, in fact, purchased Ring of Honor from Sinclair Broadcasting Company.
I think the funniest thing was in TK's like, it's not Shane. It's not Shane. It's me.
That freaking Tony Khan. He didn't sound anything like I expect him to sound like. I've never listened to him talk in any of the videos, and he comes out like,
he was
okay.
He was like mega hype though. Like
he was amped.
Yeah, I feel like that ampness really just propelled his voice to.
He sounded like he was on the verge of
12.
tears.
Yeah. I can relate to that. It sounded really, really epic though. You know?
Ring of Honor is a big deal. I mean, I was joking with Vinny from Lucha Underground, who was putting stuff out there about Lucha Underground being next. But Ring of Honor does have a pretty significant lineage in pro wrestling, and I mean, for it to come together with AEW kind of feels right, I guess. I mean, it is kind of the spiritual successor to Ring of Honor in a way, and Ring of Honor was kind of the reason how All In happened, that they were able to do this thing that we know of as AEW.
Yeah, Ring of Honor is definitely part of a lot of firsts, I will say. I mean, the fact that Ring of Honor also did like the, one of the first wrestling companies together with New Japan to put on a show at Madison Square Garden.
That was a rad show.
I think they also did the first type of, the inaugural wrestling on the Jericho Cruise. I mean, they're part of a lot of firsts in our beloved sport.
I like how you touted one awesome thing and then one terrible thing. Like, hey, MSG and Jericho Cruise.
I was there. I don't think it was awful.
Like Neo's going to have a completely different opinion of that, considering not only like what a significant.
Wait a minute.
That's fair.
How can we've never discussed this?
Neo being on the Jericho Cruise.
Holy crap!
His family, his boys had the time of their lives. They tell me every single time I see them, almost something about the Jericho Cruise.
Okay, that makes more sense. I thought he went by like himself. I was like, Neo, I did not know you loved wrestling that much.
No.
Yeah, I love wrestling that much that I went on the inaugural cruise.
He would have gone by himself.
It was a rad time too. A lot of people knock it, but no one. I mean, a lot of people were shit.
Well, I'm sure people had fun.
Get out of here. People that went. When people that's one thing that I didn't see was people that went had a blast, and it's
fucking hope so.
It's kind of one of those things, right? Where like it's easy to kind of poke fun at it from a distance when you didn't go.
Or fuck me then. Apologies.
Well, I mean, honestly, the idea of
being
being stuck on a boat with wrestling fans alone is scary enough, let alone whatever.
That's what I'm talking about. That's insane.
But
you can't go anywhere.
A lot of the wrestling fans, I mean, they would just want to hype you up. You know, they would want to buy you drinks, want to party with you.
Yeah.
They want to talk wrestling with you.
Wrestling fans are cool as shit.
Wrestling
we have a
fans are
blast
cool
with
as
them when we go on the WrestleMania and stuff. It's just
Mhm.
it's the idea of being stuck where you can't get away, because sometimes when we go on our WrestleMania trip, we tend to divert and go like to a different part of town, or Josh especially is very good about finding us like very cool places to go in wherever the city is, and sometimes it takes us way out off the path as far as where people are staying close to the event and stuff like that.
Bro, meet us
so it at
over
least
by
feels like you can
Shuffleboard.
get away.
Shuffleboard was sick.
It was cool though, because like everybody was just hyped about wrestling, you know.
Yeah.
And not only that, not only it was ROH, but like Impact Wrestling was there too. Like Johnny Impact was there, Brian Cage, LAX was there.
Johnny Caballero.
It was a great. Yeah, I don't know how this became a Jericho News podcast, but hey, you know what? I don't have to defend myself.
No,
Screw
what
you.
we're talking
I
about
chose to. I would ask you to.
It was Ring of Honor. What was that? Ring of Honor was part of that, right? And it's kind
Yeah.
of like, you know, again, it's just Ring of Honor has had some incredible shows that we've all been to. Ring of Honor is the only professional wrestling show that I've actively been backstage while the show was going on.
We went to the 19th anniversary show all together.
That's right.
That was a hell of an experience.
Oh, dude,
that's where I met Nick Gage. That's how I had all sorts of craziness. Like
It's the only
seeing
real wrestling
Shibata.
company I've ever designed companies for or designed shirts for. I love Ring of Honor. It's the shit.
Right. I mean, we all like Josh and I one time took a quick summer like vacation to go watch Ring of Honor in Vegas, and it was a blast. I mean, the shows were always good. You didn't really have to know what was going on to enjoy the wrestling. I think that was a big part of it. We often said that like if PWG had more of a budget to be on TV, it would be more like Ring of Honor. Well, it turns out PWG would actually be more of AEW, but that's those things kind of all go hand in hand, and I think the difference there is the budget, the amount of money put behind these things. Ring of Honor just kind of always flailed, you know, and it was always kind of halfway like a television wrestling program, but not really, and you couldn't get it in a lot of markets. There was a lot of things kind of holding Ring of Honor back.
But, well, I want to ask about that. Like, what do you think is the main crux of Ring of Honor? Like, why couldn't Ring of Honor be the current day AEW? What do you think?
I honestly think money. I really think it is. I think you have to be willing to put money behind something like that. I think in order for it to be on TV, it has to be more of a spectacle like AEW puts on.
Sinclair was pumping plenty of money in there at times, dude. It really came down to like just mismanagement of booking and them not pushing the talent that were ready when they were ready, and then losing them to other people. Like, honestly, there were so many people that they just lost over time that they really could have established as stars, and then they ran with other people for a long time.
I think that's true, but also, I mean, to be like successful, like, you know, borderline mainstream, the way that AEW has become, and like actually,
they don't have Tony Khan money.
Yeah, right, and I mean that's the probably the biggest thing. But then also just, you know, the connections. I mean, it's the whole Sinclair thing again. To Derek's point, like it's just not available in a lot of places. Production value is sort of it's okay.
You know what? Like I felt like
they could have
in words to production value, I felt like they kept it super grassroots, like super traditional. Like there's hardly any pyro there. Well, there's no pyro, right? There was just like music, there's entrance, and it was like a square ring, square audience, and it was just like a standard like you have your entrance and you play to your hard cam, and that was it, right? And if I'm not mistaken, like I don't ever remember like being gripped into a lot of storylines outside of like the whole Bullet Club invasion. Like after the Bullet Club like faded away, that's when you had a bunch of like upstarts come into ROH, right?
Yeah,
like Brody King. I think Gresham was probably another one.
Well, then when the partnership was about New Japan, they was primarily just about getting New Japan over, so they didn't see a lot of benefit from that either.
They also botched that one show at Madison Square Garden, and I think that was kind of the beginning of their end For sure. I know a lot of
Sinclair
people
did have the money. They could have gone to other networks. They just chose not to. That's what I mean is like mismanagement of the company. Like they could have chose to go on other networks. They have the money. Sinclair could keep ROH alive for long. It's just they've decided we gave up. Like
what was the botch
with fucking Enzo and shit?
Oh, well, I think
that show was just really bad. It wasn't just that, but yeah,
right?
that was part of it. That was part of it.
But that was out of their control, wasn't it? Like,
no, they hired the guy.
No, it was.
Yeah, Enzo and
the matches in general
Enzo
were
and Cass
shitty.
were hired to be the show itself was rad, but the goofiness was they brought Enzo and Cass on, and the New Japan people didn't know that was occurring.
See, I thought that was all. I didn't know that was like. I didn't know that was a shoot because I remember like when you would watch it back, like there was no attention on it.
Yeah, because that was the point. They were trying not to put it over for the angle, and then they like the backlash was immediate. They decided to not do any further business with Cass and Enzo.
Yep. So that one.
Oh, that was
the one where Enzo did just show up was on WWE, where he was wearing a fucking wig. Referee's hiding out in the crowd, like
pretty sure
it's not me, the realest dude.
Tackled by a female usher, I think is what happened, or security guard. That was pretty great.
Bada boom.
There's just weird shit happening, and honestly, with Ring of Honor, I think that there was
AEW like picked up their uncle, like the uncle who was hard on hard times. Like, hey, he really showed us how to do things when we were younger. So you know what? Let's pick him up. He can stay with us from now on. Come on in, Unc.
Yeah.
You can stay in the back in the garage extension.
You can put your DVDs in our garage.
There you go.
I don't know. I just feel like also like ROH in general. I think they had really good wrestlers like Bandito, Gresham. The fact that
always had great wrestlers. That was never the problem.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Beak said though. It was the poaching. It's kind of like PWG. It got to be outrageous at one point at PWG. We were not joking. It wasn't like a joke. We literally saw William Regal sticking his nose out from behind the curtain at PWG events because he was there scouting talent and literally ready to sign guys in the back room at the American Legion.
While he was running NXT essentially. And that kind of brings me to my next question for you guys. Like on the heels of the ROH news, like what's the play here? You know, is it, as Beak alluded to earlier, is it the back catalog and all that stuff? You know, is there a plan to, you know, launch their own sort of, you know, almost like quote unquote development brand? Yeah, or not really development, but yeah, something like that.
Well, it would be smart to not have ROH or to not have Dark. And I know I'm not hating on Dark or Elevate, right? Elevate is the one that typically has Neo. Is that right? Dark is still like talent from the main roster, right? But Elevate is like sometimes the lesser known talent,
Elevation or whatever.
Elevation. So I mean, wouldn't that be something to maybe rebrand just to kind of maybe get away from everything being
I don't know, because AEW. I mean, Shane Taylor Productions, La Facción Ingobernable. I mean, that stuff right there writes itself. And the fact that there was a ROH, you know, / Impact pay-per-view like last week.
Oh, Senior Crest. I didn't know that Sinclair got hit. He lost a crap load of money through ransomware. I was not aware of that. Somebody put that in the fucking chat.
Oh,
yeah. I was not aware of that. Well, that'll help be a reason why you want to unload your wrestling company that's not doing much for you.
Lost billions. Holy shit. That's a lot of money.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, but I just saw that pop up, and that's crazy.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, people are interacting with the show. I figured we'd recognize it.
Thanks, Speak. But yeah, I mean, I've seen the chatter on Twitter though, talking about, you know, do they kind of essentially keep ROH alive? You know, it could be an opportunity to potentially bring in like a William Regal, who we know was semi-recently released from WWE and NXT duties, and he's good at that kind of thing. He's really good at scouting and the like.
And he's quite the name. But
your fantasy booking my nipples hard, man.
I know, right?
William Regal running ROH is like, what?
Well, going back to Neo's point, though, my thought is if they're talking about talent, that they would rather move those guys up to AEW. But I'm talking about more of just using the Ring of Honor name for their purposes of having the, like I said, I don't even know what the difference is between like Dark and Dark Elevation or whatever until I went to the last AEW show and I saw that Dark was actually pretty good. I enjoyed Dark, so I get what you're saying, because Dark wasn't necessarily like the no-name people. There was a lot of high quality matches on Dark between two talented wrestlers on both sides. I kind of always put Dark in the position of being kind of like squash matches and stuff, but for the person that's not familiar, there's a lot of confusion there. So it might help to start using the Ring of Honor name and basically create your whole other promotion. I guess that would require there'd be a lot of money that would have to go into that, right? And I'm just thinking of like the applicating of it, right? Like they're filming AEW, but they have to go like to Ring of Honor for these matches, and then they have to switch back to AEW. I guess there'd be a lot to go into that, but it still might be a worthwhile venture to make it its own thing. Maybe you could even start touring it separately and have it be completely separate, like NXT is for WWE.
And then also, didn't ROH have a streaming service? Right? I thought they had their own streaming service. So I figure, like, if they are purchasing ROH, not only for their talent, maybe even for their library, maybe.
Well, the talent's all been released already, so they're just taking pretty much the library and the logo. Nobody actually works for them anymore.
But the streaming service is AEW doesn't have a streaming service right now, right?
Has anybody used it before for the ROH version? Because I've never checked it out. What's the quality like? They could easily move into that if that's the case, or monetize that even further.
Josh is kind of our tech guy here. So Josh, I guess I'd put it, I know you're more of like marketing
tech guy,
stuff, but I guess I'd ask you, that would be something that like they would want if it was already in place and all they would need to do is switch over, right? Like all they would need to switch over is
put some logos out.
Yeah, logos and such on it.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know too much about it. I did come across this particular tweet that I thought was kind of funny, though. I'll share this up on the screen.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
From your guy. Tony Deppin. Yo, TK, I ain't asking or begging for a job. Fuck that. But don't get rid of my free subscription to Honor Club.
That is so good.
Oh, Tony Deppin, one of my favorite wrestlers, and I'm still gonna fucking pants his ass the minute I get a chance to. Don't think I've forgotten what he did to me.
But Neil's right. The guys that he was talking about would be good pickups. Like if Tony just literally has to go grab them. That would be. Yeah. And how easy of a fit would La Faction be like with La Sombra? Like easily, Andrade just slide right in there and have some awesome shit going down.
I like how you said El Sombra and then he went Andrade, and neither one of those things are his name anymore.
I don't know what they call him now, El Idolo or something.
He's El Idolo. El Idolo.
Cool. Hey man,
I guess isn't he Andrade El Idolo? So
I did get it right. Yes. Fucking hey man, this guy.
He's Andrade. Yep.
But yeah, it's a much more positive situation for them than it is for those assholes over at Control Your Narrative, by the way, which has become like the laughing stock, I think I don't know though, of the wrestling world, right?
I'm not laughing.
You're not?
No, I'm scared.
No, you're scared of him?
I'm very scared.
Adam Shearer.
I am. Oh man, I think these guys are going to take over the Capitol.
Braun Strowman time is over, Josh. We are not cheersing to Braun Strowman any longer on this podcast.
And I'm a big EC3 fan. This is just so weird.
It got really weird. It got very.
What did Vince McMahon do to this man? He broke him. Like, how fun was EC3? One of the funniest fun characters ever. Derek Bateman, so silly and goofy. No,
good time.
He's scary, like some militia member.
As past listeners of this show,
they look scary as shit.
How awful
they don't know. Blood sacrifice somebody.
It looks like a cult meeting. It
looks exactly
like inviting me to a cult meeting. By the way, one time his theme music broke down.
Shit, there's Killer Cross too.
Trouble. And
I sang it for him. And
that was an excellent moment
there for it, and we sang it into the microphone together. it actually like kind of hurts my heart. It's like when your friends start associating with bad people, and then the bad people just keep getting worse and worse.
Is
That's
he
what I feel like
EQ3
going on here. Austin Aries is out there defending himself in this whole thing and throwing vague, weird tweets around. I mean,
he's such a dope.
Who all are we going to see
Nia
in
Jax
this
money.
thing by the time is it over? Are they going to call Sexy Star and Tessa Blanchard?
Nia Jax,
going to get
she'll be
called?
Their offenses aren't nearly bad enough. You got to be worse.
Man. So they have some weird.
Yeah, this is the best part. The fucking seasoning salts.
Control your nutrition.
Yeah, he's like, don't listen to Big Seasoning. Pull up the seasoning salt packet. There's something to mention about Big Seasoning.
Why does he look so weird in those pictures of the control your beef and control your chicken?
You see it right there?
What are those faces he's making?
He has no body fat, so that's all just like muscle flexing
Dude,
on muscle.
EC3 is muscle on muscle. He is ridiculous. Oh, they have their sea salts. But if you go back, there's like a packet of 4. It's like a poultry one, a pork one. But it's like, don't let Big Seasoning control your.
Dude,
don't let JR's barbecue control your narrative.
Don't let
narrative.
Don't let your mommy and daddy's seasoning salts control your narrative.
Don't let
there it is right there, the 4-pack right there.
Don't let McCormick control your narrative.
In quotes, Big Seasoning has been contaminating your beef, chicken, fish, and even your vegetables.
It's a Trump rally as a wrestling promotion.
He's raging against Johnny's seasoning salt.
We surveyed a bunch of beef, chicken, and fish
as a wrestling promotion.
Oh man.
I
love it.
Incredible to me
because it also potentially could be just him knowing that everyone would react ridiculous to this shit. So he's
that's
just
part of
it. Okay,
so he had that interview. EC3 had that interview with Sean Ross Sapp where he brought up the 88%.
Yeah, that part is
off thing, like as if you're not supposed to know that an 88 is a Nazi reference. But
I wasn't aware of that. But
you weren't.
I forgive me. I'm not up on all my Nazi stuff.
It's fine. No, it's fine. A personal story. My brother has been in prison for a very long time. He is now. He has. It's now, then, and forever. It's InfoWars, the wrestling. Perfect. Thank you, Senior Crest. My brother's been in jail for a very long time, and when I was younger, I did not know
the frog splashes will make you gay.
I did not know what an SS meant.
Okay, yeah.
My brother had one tattooed on him. My brother is Puerto Rican, so it was very strange.
Your brother's a Puerto Rican white supremacist.
What I eventually found out was while in jail, my brother had to just, because he's light-skinned, he just had to pretend he was white and fall in with a literal Nazi gang in order for him to be protected and not have problems in prison. And, I mean, my brother's a piece of shit, so I'm not going to say anything about his decisions or his character. He's made bad decisions his entire life to keep himself in prison. So the SS thing is no surprise. I'll just say though, getting around to it, I didn't know until I was like in my 20s what SS actually meant because of my brother and his stupid tattoo that he had. And then when I found out, it didn't make any sense to me. And that's when I learned this whole other part of the story about my brother's time in prison from my other brothers and my mom. So
yeah, when I was a kid, I knew a kid who was super stoked on Iron Crosses and had a whole bunch of them, and I just thought they were cool looking. Had no idea what they were associated
how many
with.
Metal bands and stuff use them as
Triple H,
stuff, right? You know, and
Triple H has all over his shit,
right? Yeah. I mean, it is. It's like some of that imagery is pretty shitty to use. These guys don't seem to care about anything that they're doing, and I feel like that is the direction that promotion is going to go in.
They're going to have Glenn Jacobs as their commissioner or something.
Yeah.
They don't allow. They're so anti-mask. They won't allow any luchadors.
Marty Scurll ends up here.
Oh, is he weird like that? I didn't know he was
he's an admitted kid fucker. And I can say that on record because he admitted it.
Well, hey, I mean, I'm glad that we could finally say something because I remember being at PWG when he was there, and one of the random locals told us as a group that fucking he just randomly drops on us like, "Hey, Marty diddles kids," and then walks away, and we were like, what the fuck kind of information is that to drop on us without a follow-up? And then
to be 100% accurate, he had sex with a drunk 16-year-old who was at a bar, and apparently he knew that she was 16, and 16 is legal in the UK, so technically he had sex with a kid still, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I just like Josh's face. Fucking, he's like,
and
we move on. We're losing him. Let's go.
But I mean, okay, I guess my thing is that the only direction that a promotion like this can go? Really? I mean, because I can't imagine people that are like somebody who's kind of a decent person wanting to associate themselves with this at this point, right? Or
but also, what's the storylines? It's a bunch of guys who feel like they were wrongly accused or accused of something, and society turned against them. Like all these guys are going to be butting heads against each other. Like, where does it go?
I don't know. I don't fucking know. Like, who's the baby face here? It's a promotion full of heels. I feel like
who's the and then
it's
who's
a promotion
the other
full
guy?
of baby faces. They're all baby faces.
Yeah. Who's the other guy that was on like Fox News? Like something Clay, like
Brodus Clay. He's joining them.
He was until he got fired
the
for sending
Funkasaurus
rude messages about one of his co-hosts.
Thank you.
The Funk is on a roll.
Like there's like definitely there's enough of them to open a promotion. I can see that, and it's probably going to be exclusively like on Fox or something like that. You know,
fucking Flip Gordon is just joined him too.
I saw some of his
anti-mask
posts
goof
today, and they infuriated me.
And then I think Flip Gordon had a segment on BTE. Flip Gordon was like backstage shaking hands, and then all of a sudden he shook Matt's hand. Where do you think you're going? He got super kicked and he got fucked up on BTE. It was pretty funny.
All right. Was that the last time he was ever seen on BTE?
Fucking A.
I hope so.
Again, not to throw your kids under the bus, but they have very fond memories of Flip because he was nice to them. And sometimes as a wrestling fan, that's all you can take away, was sometimes your personal interactions or watching a match yourself. But
you know what? Sometimes you do have to smile through the pain, because at the same time, like, my kids may not know what's behind the curtain, but he as a person, as a human being, was nice enough to my kids, and I appreciate that about him.
Yeah.
You know? So, and that's why it's kind of weird. Like, sometimes you have to disassociate yourself. That's why when people give Jericho a lot of shit, I don't really fall into that category, because I know what he was probably enveloped, but you know, like people like him, people like like Flip Gordon, I don't really like fall 100% into that narrative, because I know what they've done to me personally. I know what they provided me personally for entertainment value, you know, and I don't think you can take that away from me.
But it goes back to like Braun. I mean, we have very good memories tied to our joke about Braun Strowman. And,
perfect.
You know, to Braun Strowman, right? And like, this is one of those cases where I don't feel like making those jokes anymore. I was talking earlier about how there are still some comedians I like, and I don't really care how society necessarily feels about them. I'm not going to defend them because their actions were they were terrible. They vary. Right. Sometimes they're bad, like Dave Chappelle, where he just said some shitty stuff, or John Mulaney, who I'm a big fan of, but kind of like treated his ex-wife kind of shitty in the way they split up, and you know, was an addict and had all sorts of problems, but I can't blame him for that. That's personal shit. It's just stuff that makes you might not like their character and might not like them as a person as much. Or like Louis C.K., who got like a lot of fucking shitty things said about him, did terrible things, right? Like, these are people that at the end of the day really didn't get like accused of a crime, or didn't get like go through anything like legal, just like in some case of these fucking wrestlers who aren't necessarily going through anything because the accusations maybe never went anywhere or whatever. But like, you can just kind of tell that there are going to be people just like me with these comedians that still like these wrestlers, and they're still going to be fans of them, right? Yeah. They're not going to let this stuff bother them. And they're probably people, no offense, but they're already people that are like on this whole train of this thought process, this controlling your narrative, this not letting the liberal media tell you what to do. I think that kind of just outs the kind of people I'm talking about right there. But it's the definite, there is a big portion of this country like this, right? I don't want to give anything away from the Batman movie, which I just got a chance to see last night. But
spoiler alert
stuff in there about people like agreeing with the Riddler, like as he was posting stuff on social media. And what's funny about that is 10 years ago, that would have been something that like wouldn't have even been believable. And now after what we've seen over the last 10 years, it's like, oh yeah, I could totally see this fucking shit happening.
I think it's fair to say that people are entertaining, but they're dopes, or they were nice to you when you met them in person. But overall, I'm not going to be a dick to them because they were nice to me, but I don't agree with their thought process or what they stand for. I mean,
sure.
Again, there's nuance. You can say,
see, that's the thing. That's the thing, right, Beak? So, like, if Flip Gordon all of a sudden, like, you know, crossed that line and said, like, you know, stuff about, like, you know, how we should overthrow, like, the government, like, and things like that. Like, if he blatantly starts, like, talking that shit, like, kind of like how Nia Jax is, where she's, like, talking all that shit about how the vaccine is bad for you and like COVID is fake.
They all
and all that
do
shit.
it in their own subtle way.
Right.
They do it in their own subtle way without actually committing to it fully, but by retweeting something or like putting it with a smiley face after that, you know, like some meme that's like, oh, hey, why should we vaccinate? You know, like,
well, Flip Gordon posted something today that said COVID is not killing people. Weak immune systems are. The tests are rigged. The death count is false. Masks are useless. Sanitizer are toxic. Vaccines are poisonous. The government and media is lying. This guy is pushing disinformation. He's a fucking dope. Of course he's nice to you and your kids in person. He's doing customer service. He's a pro wrestler. He's not going to be a dickhead, especially if he's a babyface. I'm not holding anything against you if you think you don't want to hold ill will because he wasn't a dick to you.
Speak. Pump the brakes right there.
No, I'm just saying.
Listen to me. I didn't know about that tweet. And
that's why people don't. He's been talking about this kind of stuff for quite a while. That's why people don't like him. I understand. I'm saying your position makes sense because he wasn't a dick to you. There's no reason for you to be a dick to him.
But isn't this all part of the problem, right? Isn't this part of the problem is that those people can be nice to you, and because they're in a position of power and of envy of us kind of idolizing them because they are it's
a cult of personality,
bigger than life on TV, right? Especially if you're young and impressionable, like our children are, is that then they might start listening to that stuff if they follow that person on social media or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
sure,
that's where I feel like that's where you can't support them. That's where you can't amplify their voice.
Because but again, I'm agreeing with Neo. Like, personal interactions are definitely going to cloud or shade your viewpoint of a person way more than anything you read online.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can't fault him for feeling them.
Marty is somebody.
Kids. The guy was super nice to your kids. Jesus, like, of course you're going to be nice. The guy's cool.
Well, just us, right? Like, I remember Marty coming out and bumming a cigarette off of Daryl, our friend Daryl, the beast from the Middle East. And it was a very funny interaction because if I'm not mistaken, I think he was in his gear. And when he did so, we were outside standing in front of the American Legion at PWG. And then he just kind of stood there and hung out with us in his underwear, smoking a cigarette in our group, like trying not to be rude, where he just bummed the cigarette and walked off like most people would, you know, like you bum the cigarette, you go do your thing, right? But he's like, oh, you guys are like in a circle chatting about the show. I'll hang out and see what you guys thought. And it was like awkward and weird, but it was kind of endearing. It makes it hard to dislike him. And I was a big fan of Marty during this time, you know.
Makes me hard too.
Then again, that was the same time when that guy dropped the bombshell on us that made me like almost lose sleep at night, being like, what did that guy mean about Marty? And then, you know, eventually you kind of have some more information comes out.
Children.
Yeah.
Well,
hey,
before I can finish my thought, sorry, like what Beak was saying, I didn't even know he was putting out that type of stuff. But now that I know that he's putting out that type of stuff, so this is what I should do. Like, I'm gonna research it, see it for myself, and if that's, and obviously I trust Beak wholeheartedly. I've slept with the man in a hotel in separate beds. I trust him with
at least most of the evening. There was a short period of time where he cut over.
But that's the thing, like because of like maybe my ignorance, like having this narrow, myopic view of like a certain person, like I knew Flip was kind of on the funny side, talking about flat Earths and stuff like that. And I'm like, I didn't know he was talking that shit about. I didn't know he was spreading misinformation. Beak like 100%.
But that's not your fault.
Did not know.
That's
brother, I wasn't bringing it up to hold it against you by any means. I'm just saying I was doing it to illustrate your exact point. The fact that personal interactions is everything, whereas then you find out about their politics, and there's certain politics you can disagree with, like, hey, man, you don't believe about gun rights, and I really believe gun rights. That's one thing. But if you're telling people that vaccines are fucking toxic and the masks are bullshit, I just can't support you as a babyface and a fucking hero.
So like I mentioned before, like if you start crossing that line, and I know now you become a toxic, a toxic role model for my kid, then I have to put the ban hammer, and I have to let my kids know, hey, Flip Gordon's probably not someone that we want to associate with, like Hulk Hogan or like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We shouldn't hold them to that standard because of they've done this, right?
For sure. Agreed.
So no,
plus you should never trust a guy whose first name is just something they do. Like you would like that. Jack Cartwheel's okay. Cartwheel Jack, no thanks.
What about Walker? What about Walker? Is Walker okay? Is it okay to like Walker? Your guy's name Walker?
Okay. I just we were going that literal. Well, oh my god!
All right. It's like Nia Jax. Nia Jax has gone off the fucking rails since she's left WWE. Right? It's like every time I hear something from her, it's crazier and crazier. Now we're having today that she posted about. First, since her release, she said that she thought everyone in WWE is miserable, is what she said. And then she posted on Instagram yesterday or today, all these MFs saying, I stand with Ukraine, couldn't even stand for their own personal rights for 2 years because they were scared to breathe. Like, I don't even understand this fucking connection or what this
she's the lunatic commenter on Facebook that I just have to block because I'm like, is this a real person? Is this a bot? Yeah. Is it a Russian? Yeah. Like, what is wrong with this person? Yeah. Like,
it's weird when you know that person in real life too, because then that person in real life, I don't know if you guys have anybody like this, but like I had this one guy who was a friend of mine's husband, and this guy was totally nice and normal in real life, and we would talk about things like sports and hip hop and news, and it like never once did I get any of the I didn't get the idea at all that he was like this until we became Facebook friends, and then I got to see his posts on my timeline all the time. And
everyone's doing customer service in real life, bro. Everyone when they're face to face, unless they're just don't give a fuck, are trying to make it through without just be nice. Like, and like here, like strippers, bro. They don't love you. Her name isn't even Tiffany. Crest down here in the comments, he says he lived in Houston, Texas, had a customer come in all decked out in Trump gear and overalls, and he was the nicest guy ever.
Yeah, right. What's not wrong?
Exactly. That's all my parents' neighbors. They fly "fuck Joe Biden" flags and Trump.
At least they're nice enough to say it. At least they go say it.
Yeah, they don't.
They're super nice in their interactions. Yeah, I don't know. All right, hey, do you guys mind if I kind of just take us in a whole different direction?
Fucking hey, man, we've been getting into heavy shit.
I got a little lightning round. Just some, I think, kind of fun topics.
But we're making some real culture progress. Let's say, gentlemen.
I feel like we are.
It's a good discussion for real. But
no, totally, I appreciate it. But I think there's some fun stuff that's going on in pro wrestling I want to talk about. So
all right,
bring it.
Go.
First and foremost, Cesaro.
Oh yeah.
The word is out that he's no longer under WWE contract. There's no such thing as a 90-day clause, all that sort of jazz. I mean, like, is it gonna be the obvious thing where we end up seeing him at AEW? Could it possibly be anything else? Especially, I mean, we know ROH is off the table. Do you think he goes there? I mean, none of us knows Cesaro personally. I don't know what he wants to do, but man, there seems like some opportunity to put on some really killer matches and have a lot of fun.
your brother, the better Schlag knows him, and they are quite close friends. So maybe he could
DM him on Instagram. Yeah. That's true.
Well, I think that obviously AEW or New Japan, old New Japan up here is always an option for someone like Cesaro. I think he could make a killing there, and again, he doesn't need necessarily the character aspect that I'm guessing WWE didn't know what to do with. WWE, like if they don't make you, when you're a foreign guy, if they don't make you the typical foreign guy that's just all about your
this is all the crappy shit they did with him.
I forgot.
Yeah, I came across an article talking about all the terrible things they did with Cesaro over the years.
Right, like for real. I mean, it was WWE doesn't know what to do with guys that aren't
that could have been good.
Typical foreign guy repping their nation.
Watch number 1B like never gave him a title or some shit.
Honestly, Claudio Castagnoli, as some people call him, Cesaro, has a lot of personality, and they tried to get him to show a bit of personality, but all these really weird, stupid ways. Like the first thing they showed, the yodeling, the breakaway clothing, like he was like a stripper but a secret agent. I'm not sure what was going on there, but he's tremendously talented. It's just AEW is so overloaded with people right now, and people coming in. Like he would get lost in the shuffle if he went over there anytime soon. Like maybe if you waited a while, there hadn't been some debuts for a minute, but he's a beast. He's like seriously one of the best wrestlers ever, regardless of what you think of his personality. He's amazing.
I like the thing. I like the thing that you guys said about New Japan. I think that would be a fantastic fit for him.
Fuck yeah.
Well, what I always wanted for him is I wanted him to be part of Gunther's stable. Like I wanted him first and foremost to be part of that crew.
That would be rad.
And then after a while, I got to thinking like because what's his name, Wolfgang, that Wolfgang guy who was like the senior,
Alexander Wolf.
Yeah, thank you, Alexander Wolf. He was the senior, and then something happened with him where he was out of the picture. So I thought, oh, maybe Cesaro can fill that void.
Dude, that would have been such a great fit.
Yeah, and then I started thinking like, okay, well, that's obviously not happening. What if he went to like Rev Pro? Or like somewhere in Europe and kind of like got back to his roots. I know he's from Switzerland, but like maybe somewhere around Europe where he just kind of like made a killing. And then like since New Japan and Rev Pro have like this symbiotic relationship, like that would easily open up the door for him to work in like New Japan and at Rev Pro.
And I always do the American Indies too, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I always thought that would be cool, and then subsequently, since New Japan had that relationship with ROH, maybe he would show up on like World of Worlds. So like I thought about this in depth, and now that ROH is now purchased by AEW, learning today, like I think my original booking fantasy could work. However, I don't know to the extent of ROH is going to be doing War of the Worlds anytime soon.
And are they still planning on coming back in April? ROH?
Yeah, for Super Card of Honor. I think is what they're doing. But I've always wanted him to do like a Europe tour, and then from Europe go to Japan, and then from Japan just like do American Indies, like or like what if he's like just shows up on like a random blood sport match, like Josh Barnett's Bloodsport? Like why the fuck not? You know?
Dude, that'd be like, so. Cesaro in a Bloodsport match would be so fucking dope. God,
that would be incredible.
You know what really get us all bonered up though? Bonered Kings of Wrestling. If Chris Hero was back wrestling again, and him and Cesaro did a fucking indie tour, and like just wrestled all the tag teams,
like their own version of the Expedition of Gold. Fuck yeah, dude.
Or let me ask you this: what if this whole thing with Moxley fell apart in AEW, and that's who Bryan Danielson brought in?
Honestly, the perfect fit for him, if he actually does come to AEW, is with Bryan, because they have the history. He is
with ROH.
He's a legit shoot. I wouldn't say he's a shoot wrestler, but he's got that style of professional wrestling. So, yeah, it's the perfect fit.
Yeah,
like if the shackles had been torn off of Cesaro, that's to Derek's point. Like that would be an excellent fit. Like if you lumped him into AEW and that whole pure wrestling thing really took off on the AEW side, like I can see people like Cesaro, Gresham, kind of all lumped together with like Moxley and Danielson.
That'd be good.
And then all this
put it under that Ring of Honor header, and could have some good shit going on in there.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. I love
Give them all Ring of Honor.
Or do you know how, like, for example, like this is the other thing. Do you know how, for example, like Chaos kind of adopted the Best Friends?
The Best Friends.
I would like Suzuki Gun to adopt whatever they're doing at like AEW. Like, just give me that.
Yes.
Is there a sister faction?
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of which, I saw this pop up on the timeline just a little bit ago.
Oh,
people are pissed. People are pissed.
I don't get it.
Apparently, a lot of people
pissed about Effie versus Suzuki.
That people don't like Effie. Apparently,
how can you not love Effie?
That's what I'm talking about. They think just because he's not a traditional like grappling style wrestler, and Suzuki is a serious type of dude, that it's not a good fit. So that makes it a perfect fit.
But that means like they've never seen Suzuki wrestle lucha style, or they've never seen Suzuki wrestle like other women,
or Suzuki wrestle Mecha Mummy.
There you go. Or
Suzuki wrestled. Mecha Mummy didn't get a bunch of heat on Twitter for fucking wrestling him.
Or they didn't see Suzuki like just kind of like be like synonymous with like One Piece, Like, so
I think it was similar anger that people had when they. Not everyone, but a lot of people were annoyed that Orange was going to wrestle him back a couple of summers back.
Your life. I wanted that to happen.
I wanted to see it, but people were annoyed. But yeah, everyone's mad at Effie. I saw a guy literally rip Effie apart, said he was terrible at everything. I'm like, he's not like your traditional like grappler, but he's awesome, incredibly entertaining. He can wrestle with a lot of different styles.
That's so crazy to me to hear somebody say, because Effie is, first of all, Effie is fine. And Effie is just like a badass, right? I think that's the thing about him is that
he's done some.
He always wins you over when you watch his matches. If you've ever watched his matches, with like how far he's willing to go to prove himself. That's kind of right. Like the Effie story in a way is to prove that he's like a badass, right? Like he's always trying to.
But also at the same time, yeah, exactly. At the same time, because he has nothing to prove. Like he's showing you he has nothing to prove. He's fucking awesome. He's out here going full force. Yeah, and he's a fucking super nice guy. Like when we ran into him, was it at Vegas when we went to that GCW show? Yeah. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Talking to me about my dog and shit. Like, not only is he an awesome wrestler, he's a great human being. He's like caring. Yeah. He cares for his fans. Can't get no hate for Effie.
Well, it's.
Well, let's not forget too. Like this is like this goes both ways. Suzuki agreed to this, so if Suzuki, like the badass wrestler as he is agreeing to fight Effie, like why don't you just sit back and watch the magic happen?
Yeah,
and clearly somebody wanted to see the match because a booker paid both of these guys probably a lofty sum to have them wrestle each other. So. There you go.
And especially if they're covering. Hopefully, they're covering Suzuki's expenses and flying him all the way out here. That's got to be some big payola. For sure. Yep. Yeah, that's why I never got the fact like when people shit on the fact Suzuki versus Orange Cassidy. I thought it would have been phenomenal. Like that's definitely
lights
on
out.
my. Yeah, that would have been lights out, man. Like don't knock
in my head.
Don't knock it until you see it.
That match is literally an anime in my head. Like the thought of Orange Cassidy kicking Suzuki's shins and Suzuki looking at him like,
what the fuck is going on?
Like, and just laying him out, like just fucking like laying him out, and then you get blood orange like, Suzuki, blood orange Cassidy.
Blood orange Suzuki is something I might have to make though. That sounds fun.
That's a dope ass drink.
I was thinking Photoshop. All right, this lightning round is not going nearly as lightning quick as Justin.
All right. Last thing I got for you guys. Samoa Joe the other day did an appearance on Busted Open Radio. Talked about why he ultimately had to drop the title. It seemed so abrupt, all that stuff, COVID, blah blah blah. Anyways. Fast forward to now, Samoa Joe's out there. He's not signed under anybody. I'm going to go down to the quote real quick. He says, "For my future, we're training, we're ready. I'm not on paper with anybody, anywhere. Haven't signed anything. just kind of exploring our options, taking a little time to be with family, shore up things homeside, et cetera, et cetera. So really, he says he's open to whatever opportunity. And, kind of like Cesaro out there, you look at a guy like Samoa Joe and you're like, there's a lot of opportunity there, be it with like a CM Punk in AEW. Maybe kind of going back to some of the stuff, he was kind of like a mentor and trainer, I think, of sorts at NXT. Does he get involved with the ROH stuff? Japan's always a thing. But what do you think?
Let's address the obvious elephant in the room. Why wasn't he part of the whole Samoan dynasty on Raw? Like, why didn't that happen?
Because they're not from the same Samoan family, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody.
They're not. He's one of the few Samoans that isn't related to The Rock. I think that was a disservice for him, unfortunately.
You think so?
I mean, not legitimately, but I think that's why they couldn't. They wouldn't just say, "All right, let's shove all the Samoans together, even if they're not related." Like, it almost would be too much,
I don't know. I think they've done it before with like Los Boricuas, and they've done it before with
and everyone was like, "I'm so glad they did that."
Yeah, but even the Hurt Business, like they lumped in all these.
That was like a more natural. I don't think they were just saying these are all the black guys on the show, put them together. But to your point, yes, they could easily do that, I suppose. Imagine though, Josh makes a good point. Imagine CM Punk, Claudio, and Samoa Joe all working with ROH again in some capacity, like fucking.
And then Brian Danielson.
Brian Danielson, yeah, sorry, I forgot him off. That'd be so cool. That was the lightning quick response you wanted for all the other ones, Josh.
Yeah, is that what you want? Well, I mean, I guess
you.
My addition to this is when do we stop using the answer? Are they going to go to AEW?
Never.
Right? Like,
unfortunately,
right. I mean, I guess that's part of it. AEW, since its inception, has had an ever-changing roster. So it's not to say like they've ever really been committed to keeping one person in the spotlight or as a champion or anything for too long, besides Kenny and his run. But they've featured a lot of different guys in a lot of different ways. There just seems to be a point where, Tony Khan alluded to the fact they can't keep everybody on roster. Yes, that's true. But especially with this top shelf talent that keeps kind of falling their way, how do they not go in that direction? You know what I mean? How do they, like, again, and it's not attacking some of the lesser known talent, but do people like a Cesaro or a Samoa Joe move the needle for someone like AEW to go to all that trouble to pick up?
The feeling, my short answer is yes. And the feeling is, and obviously I'm not inside of Tony Khan's head, but like, I get the feeling that the way he puts his shows together, the way they put the company together, frankly, like they're not doing like WWE. They'll sign somebody and they want to lock somebody in for X number of years under contract. They want to control everything about them, all this sort of stuff. AEW, they want to put on a good show, and if that means bringing somebody in who's hot and exciting, and everybody wants to see them do certain things, and the time is right, yeah, let's fit them in there if we can. And, maybe they have long-term success and they stick around with AEW for 3, 4, 5 years. Maybe this is just a brief little stint. Then they're going to go off and do some stuff in New Japan and do whatever. Who knows? Like, that's kind of the feeling I get from it. Like they're a little more loose as far as that type of thing goes. And that's kind of why I feel like it's okay to be like, are they going to end up in AEW? Because ending up in AEW isn't really a long-term commitment at least from the feeling I get from it.
Well, as Derek said, Tony said they can't keep everybody. It doesn't mean they can't try everybody out. Both things can happen. They could bring a bunch of people in, have a revolving door, guys come in and leave. And then also, the reason everyone's going to say they should go to AEW is the common complaint with every wrestling fan is if the booking was different, these guys would have got over. So they want to see if that is actually true.
And I think the other thing too is, working with AEW, remember, you can come in as even as an independent contractor still. Like, you don't have to be signed per se. You can come in and do a limited number of shows. Just like you guys remember when, when Jericho and the Inner Circle hired Cobb for they hired him as a hitman to come and fuck somebody up. Yeah, like shit like that was fucking awesome. Or when Cody did the whole open challenge thing and had like a bunch of independent guys just come and run roughshod. Like,
exactly.
There's nothing wrong with having him come in for like a couple shows just so that he can drip in the proverbial ear of everybody, and then maybe even come back just because, like Beak said, try him out. Like, have him come in, kind of gauge where the interest is, and then really just try to relegate him in a proper role to where he can be successful, right? Where you can utilize his talents. Like, I think we're all kind of envisioning and maybe even fantasy booking this whole old school ROH faction happening, and then and since AEW is like so faction based, now you kind of have like this whole ROH versus like AEW, and then like let's not forget like they have kind of like this saloon door with like Impact, like fuck, you can make a legit War of the Worlds pay-per-view with like using all 4 promotions, even with like New Japan. Like this is like this gets my wrestling boner.
Is Control Your Narrative one of those promotions?
It's like just for all these moving parts.
Yeah, don't soften my wrestling boner there, Cap. Okay, it's standing strong and feed me. I don't need
Impact already has an ROH stable, so they can have Impact's ROH stable versus AEW's ROH stable to see who's the real ROH. It's the only thing we've ever wanted.
Well, it's like what is old now becomes new, because now it goes back to like when it was WWE versus WCW versus ECW, right? It's like the whole thing. Like, what is old is now new, and like that was successful. I feel like it was successful back in the day. It could definitely be successful nowadays as well.
Cody Rhodes is the Hulk Hogan of this whole scenario. He's going back to WWE, brother.
By the way,
okay, let's. I wanted to say, do you think Tony Khan bought ROH just to make Cody Rhodes the president of ROH?
He's got that ring.
Yes,
he didn't know that ring actually meant your president.
100%. That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah,
here.
Cody Rhodes and Brian Cage are going to be the new bad guys down at ROH.
I'll take it.
By the way, when we're talking about Control Your Narrative wrestling, Flip Gordon is part of it.
Yeah, that's why I made the joke.
Killing Cross and Austin Aries, Damo, Eric Redbeard.
That's a bummer. I like Cross too.
Eric Redbeard's part of it too.
Yeah,
I really like that guy.
Tyler Bateman.
Bateman's a cool guy too, but his gimmick fits with the whole stuff. Like, he's like kind of a creepy.
Well, Bateman, isn't he like a circus freak sort of thing?
He was like a ringmaster type character, like a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, okay, because I saw him on New Japan Strong, and he's really cool. But yeah, he's kind of has this, ringmaster type of deal. Sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of these guys lower down on the card, I get a little bit why they're there a little bit more than some of these guys on the upper side of the card, or how this whole thing came together. But
this is why Bandito is on the top of the card, because like for him, he's like the Danny Rojas of
Danny Rojas.
He's like like Bandito. I imagine Bandito is the Danny Rojas of pro wrestling. He's just like wrestling his life, and that's why he's the best.
Wrestling is
sure. Do you guys mind if we do another lightning round of sorts with
you keep saying lightning round, but you know that we're
Josh, I don't think you know what those words mean.
Yeah,
lightning round.
I'm trying to manifest them. I'm trying to will it into existence.
Just know that we're all like
gimmick, lightning round.
We're like the slugs or the sloths of the lightning round.
All right, let's go.
All right, so we got AEW Revolution coming up this weekend. I'm excited. I'm stoked. I
definitely wanted to go over the card.
It's a great card. It's a great card.
So
they misspelled Hungman.
Okay, this is Wikipedia, so whatever. But anyways, so just starting at the top, the pre-show, we got Hook and QT Marshall.
Why is that on the pre-show?
Banger.
Why is Hook on the pre-show?
Banger.
That is my first fucking question. Why is that on the pre-show?
Because you're gonna tune into the pre-show because of it. I will.
You're right.
I see Hook.
This is a 5-star match right there.
Hook
in the pre-show,
27 seconds.
Yeah, no way Hook loses this match.
No. He's going to murder QT Marshall.
Consider me hooked in.
This might be the last match he ever wrestles in.
What?
And that's not Hook. I mean QT Marshall. This might be the end of QT Marshall's career.
Very well could be. All right, Layla Hirsch, Chris Statlander. I don't have much to say about that.
Layla's got to win.
Pretty good.
I have a lot to say about this.
Go.
Okay. So if like this is one of those sub stories that just became gripping. It's one of the cheesiest stories because Layla does not know how to be a bad person.
Yeah.
I feel. But like it's just kind of like you're kind of seeing like the new skin of Layla, and you just are very interested to see what comes about. But it has been a pretty like will they won't they type of thing on AEW and on AEW Dark.
Make out?
Just fighting.
Hold on, not so fast.
They're not gonna fight with their lips.
Don't rule anything out.
They're gonna fight with their fists. I'm actually excited for this because
I think Layla wins for that reason. By the way, of what
you're hang on. There's one thing we haven't gone over. John needs to know. The reason why Layla is not getting over very well as a heel is because the babyface Chris Statlander says she understands why Layla Hirsch's parents put her up for adoption.
Oh, too soon.
That was what she said. I understand why your parents got rid of you.
Yeah,
the babyface said that. You guys,
yeah. You're not allowed to say that. Oh. That's for her to say.
Well, let's just okay. So Chris used her alien technology to, yeah.
So that's like Statlander is turning herself heel by just saying that alone. And if Layla Hirsch doesn't win, it's like Chris was right. You're not only are you a loser, your parents got rid of you. Like what the fuck?
But you know what? I'd rather it be that storyline versus like the whole aliens versus Russia storyline. Like just
that classic tale.
But I kind of want Layla Hirsch to win because I'm a big fan of when she was a babyface, and I like the way she wrestles, and I would like to see a different side of her.
I want Hook to come out and give her a Team Taz T-shirt after she wins.
Chips.
Thank you.
Just offers her some chips, and we all know that.
Some weed. He comes out with a blunt, a hoodie, a Team Taz hoodie, and a backpack filled with money.
There it is.
Yeah. Next match, Jade Cargill. Moving on. I mean, she kissed the woman on her forehead. I mean, there's nothing else to talk about here.
My favorite was
she can try all she wants. She's going to get slaughtered.
Smart Mark Sterling said during the promo tonight, you can't touch a hair on her green head. And to any wrestling fan, it sounds like he was insulting her wrestling ability, but her hair was
her acumen.
Nah,
her hair was actually green, though.
She's very aware of her being called green, and that's actually why she went all green, I think. I don't think it has shit to do with money.
I just think it was hilarious how he made the line and her hair was actually fucking green. Like, it's a double meaning. Jade's got to win. Like, they're pushing.
It's funny to me when someone like is fucking up and then they want to address on Twitter that they're fucking up, like as if they're not going to fuck up anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
now you just made us all aware we're going to be looking at you fucking up every time.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, and we're going to be scrutinizing you even more. It's not going to help. It's not going to help. It's like Josh said, don't block, mute. So
is she working with Bryan Danielson though? So if she has any aptitude, then hopefully she'll start picking this stuff up. Because
what a fucking absolute asset it is to have Bryan Danielson as one of your wrestlers that can go in and help train somebody like Jade Cargill, right? Which honestly, she's pretty fucking good on the mic. Like, she doesn't necessarily need a manager, and she looks incredible. Potentially the best looking female wrestler we've ever seen, but is if they can get her to actually wrestle good, that's not even fair at that point. Like, if she can actually learn from Bryan Danielson and become
even more people sound, like, she has a wealth of people around her that can help her learn everything. Like, and we're talking about other people maybe coming in. Imagine a Samoa Joe coming over and help training people. Like, goodness gracious.
I hate to blame that. I hate to base any opinion on that show, Roads to the Top or whatever, but she seemed like she seems like her attitude right now is going to be the biggest thing holding her back. The fact that she knows that she's the shit and thinks that she's the shit, but wrestling is what it is, right? And they make you they have their process of breaking you down first before you can be a pro wrestler and all of that. And sometimes when you skip steps because you look a certain way or are a certain way, that's really where you start getting a big, I mean, let's be honest, that's one of the reasons why John Cena was always kind of a terrible wrestler, is because he just had his career skyrocketed so fast that there was no time to learn how to be a good wrestler, because he was already good at doing all of the other things, every part of it, the look, the dress, the talk, all of that, right? We'll figure out the wrestling part later.
I think a lot of that to come around too.
You know what just dawned on me, boys?
What's that?
Is since they purchased ROH, this probably could also be like a prime opportunity to try to scoop up like Sumi Sakai, and maybe even bring her in maybe even in a trainer capacity. Because I imagine like Sumi Sakai, with like the fact that she knows like English and Japanese, she can really like mend maybe that the proverbial gap that is kind of within AEW, where you have like a lot of Joshi type wrestlers.
Sure.
On top of that, now you have like a lot of other, obviously other women wrestlers. I really feel like if you brought in Sumi Sakai, like that probably could be, like that could probably make the women's division really copacetic.
You raise a good point, because
Sheeta
came out recently and said that she felt like because she's Japanese, she was kind of left out in the wind the whole time she was at the AEW. She moved, no one helped her find a place. Like it became very difficult, and she felt like she had no support.
And Kenny Omega's not there technically, so like he's rehabbing. Like he was the biggest advocate for maybe some of the Joshi wrestlers. He and Michael Nakazawa, right? And if you don't have that presence there, you could you're letting a lot of potential go to the wayside if you're not there to foster it, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, because WWE wants to get in there and get other Joshi talent. That's why they got Sarai or Sari, whatever you want to call her. Sari when she was in Sendai. But yeah, if they can find someone that can help just bridge that gap, yes, you're 100% correct. Because honestly, the Joshi talent is the best wrestling in the world, and
it really is.
It just needs to be featured more.
So we got AHFO versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy Guevara. I feel like this match came around because Darby Allin is Darby Allin on the line? Like if they lose, does Andrade now own Darby? I know he's been trying to acquire him for a while.
I think my favorite thing is when Andrade comes in, and I should be sympathetic, but I like when he goes in and he's talking to Darby Allin. He's like, "Hey, I want to talk to your boss, Mr. Stink." And he says Stink instead of Sting. And I'm like, I know what he's trying to say, sort of. But
or maybe he's doing it. Maybe he's going out of his way to do it, honestly.
Maybe he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah, like saying it because he could like say, "Oh, sorry, my translation or my English not so good," easily. But he's just straight up calling motherfucker Stink.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You know what I really like about AEW is, at the very least, they don't. And I'm not like, I guess they treat us dumb. I know we've said that a lot about WWE, but it's not that. I guess they don't leave us with an unsatisfying conclusion for things, right? So there's part about the storyline that they've had with Andrade with the Hardy family office that is basically him taking over, right? Which now that we know Jeff Hardy is on his way and eventually going to be here, that's obviously going to be something that takes Matt out of the equation. But to be honest, Andrade having a stable of people under him in his office that he pays is right along with his characters. So they kind of smoothly moved in like a new leader to take over this faction and are going to move the other one out in some way, I imagine.
Yes. There. So that's exactly what I like. Man, you're like my simpatico in this one. So this was my whole theory, right? So I was sitting back one day, I'm like, all right, so this is kind of shitty that they're making Andrade doing the AHFO, right? And then I was thinking to myself, well, shit, if they just required ROH, maybe, just maybe, they signed the La Facción Ingobernable, and he brings in La Facción to like wipe like everybody out. Like they wipe out like Isaiah Cassidy, the Butcher, the Blade, like everybody, like just wipe the whole fucking thing out. And then now you just have Los Ingobernables like in AEW.
And you know what? Best part about that is it's this whole time Andrade has been on a pursuit for friends. He wants to make new friends. He wants to hire everybody. He wants people to come join him. And then what comes down to his friends come join him and whoop everyone's ass.
It's very mafioso. It's very mob like, right? It's like all the gangs keep getting tougher and tougher. You know what I mean? Now you have like
he's like trying to bring everyone together and nobody wants to work with him. So he's like, fuck y'all. I'm gonna kill y'all.
Well, I'm gonna kill y'all. Like, and I'm gonna kill you with Roosh, with Dragon
Lee. Yeah. Right.
What's the other one?
Tejano Jr.? No.
No.
I love that guy.
It's gonna be Roosh, Dragon Lee, and then what's the other one? Dralistico,
and Kenny King,
and I think like Roosh's dad.
Kenny King is an Impact right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying he's part of La Facción.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's the deal, but obviously Impact and AEW don't have any problem sharing talent, so I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to allow them to keep having this Ring of Honor stable in Impact now that Tony owns it.
Well, because they gave themselves an actual name, right? Like
it's something Dishonor or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Or Honor No More or something.
Honor No More. That's what it is. Honor No More. Anyway, Darby Allin and his dad win.
Yeah,
I also like that AEW has the TNT champion in this match, and the TNT champion isn't defending their belt, but like they have such a stacked card that they don't really need Sammy to defend his championship, and he's defended it recently, so it would make sense not to make him defend it yet again on the pay-per-view. Just
if this card's in order, that it'd be weird for 3 heel wins in a row. So yeah, it makes sense for the babyface someone there.
Yeah, I don't expect this card necessarily to be in order, but kind of in precedence of prestige, I guess, maybe, or build. But I expect that.
It looks like
that 6-man match fun. It totally makes sense. I'd buy it. The tornado tag match.
Maybe I would switch out. I was saying maybe I might put Eddie Kingston versus Jericho in between CM Punk and the Hangman match. But that's also not giving them credit.
Yeah, that gives no one. That's a crazy last 3. People are going to be spent.
Well, I know, but I mean, don't you think that Britt Baker match versus Thunder Rosa match is going to have people fucking spent? Like that's.
Well, I mean, there's not really any breathers on this card, to be honest with you.
No, not the whole way down. Right, once you get past this match that we just discussed, everything else is a banger. Yeah. Everything else is a banger. Do we have new tag champions? Is my question to you boys.
I can see Red Dragon screwing because the storyline is they keep on screwing these motherfuckers, and then the Bucks came out and fucked with them. So, yeah, I think I can see Red Dragon winning after pulling it out from underneath Matt and Nick.
Kyle O'Reilly said in an interview that he will go wherever Adam Page goes. By the way, so that's
Adam Page or Adam Cole.
Adam Cole. I'm sorry, Adam Cole. See, I told you. They're the same guy to me. They really are. Adam Page is not the one I'm referring to. It's Adam Cole. I even forgot right there again.
Can you imagine Adam Page coming on the mic? He's like,
Adam Page, baby.
I'm sick and tired of people saying that I'm you and you're me. I'm going to settle it right now. The winner keeps the name. The loser changes their name to like David.
Cool. Yeah.
You're Dave Page.
You're just Page now. You're Page.
There it is.
Hangman Page.
We're just fighting for the first name.
I'm with you, by the way, Beaky. I'm on the Red Dragon train in this. I feel like they're going to win it.
I think that'd be big time. I think they win. Gosh, man, imagine if they win and Adam Cole manages to win at the end of the night,
and then they turn their back on the Bucks. And then it'll be beautiful.
And then they call themselves undisputed.
The drama.
The Bucks will be faces again, and that'll be a lot of fun.
So, what do you think of this? Like, maybe Jurassic Express retains because of the rift between Red Dragon and the Bucks.
Seems like the most likely outcome, right?
But the Bucks, they capture it, after or they capture it either at All Out in Vegas, or when they go back to like
Double or Nothing in Vegas.
I'm sorry, thank you, Double or Nothing at Vegas. That's kind of my thought.
It's not a bad thought. I really feel like that's probably the most likely outcome.
Lucha Express or Jurassic Express is boring.
You think so?
On. They're all right. I'm not terribly big fan.
They're fine. Okay. You can slam them. You can.
I think Jack is awesome, and the Luchasaurus thing is like, I guess it's okay.
It's weird. It felt like something he was going to do one time at a Joey Ryan show, and then he just did it forever and never stopped doing it.
It's not that I hate the gimmick, because the whole Jurassic Express thing is just like a dinosaur and a caveman boy. It's just kind of okay, dokey. I don't know.
You know what?
They have fun music.
Okay. No offense to
that might be part of it too,
right? But Jurassic Express is the exact type of talent that I could see in 2 years from now being completely irrelevant or not even with AEW anymore. And that's not to knock them. It's just like the progress that this company is going and the way that they're picking up talent. It feels like some of these guys that were there since the beginning are going to get phased out a bit almost, right? Like I hate to keep bringing Joey Janela up whenever I talk about this, but Joey Janela is one of those guys that was featured heavily and now is completely gone, and he's doing GCW shows and he's kicking GCW fans in the face. By the way, Janela looks better than he ever has, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, he's definitely on path to do some really fun things in pro wrestling. It's just saying, like, at times there's guys that you kind of wonder where they're at and if they're going to be featured. Kip Sabian's still walking around with that goddamn bag on his head. It makes me wonder. I mean, I imagine he's injured, but it just like Miro, but it makes me feel like, when are we going to see some of these guys? They do have a robust enough roster that they don't seem to miss a beat when someone leaves. So then it kind of makes AEW, to me at least, like old WWE or WWF even. I can't even say WWE. WWF when I was a kid, where you didn't know why guys were gone. That's how I feel about a lot of wrestlers in AEW that I haven't seen in a while. I don't know if they're injured or if there just isn't room for them right now in their plans to do anything with them.
With the Jurassic Express, before I totally say they suck, I think, honestly, if AEW was a company that was more aimed toward kids, they'd be the biggest thing in the world, honestly. Like, the gimmick is so kid-friendly, really, and if they made just actually super cartoony toys of these two and not just action figure version toys, like, it would be over like Rover. But
I do have the action figures of them, by the way.
They have a cool look. I can't deny that by any means.
Yeah. I feel like if you want to take Jurassic Express to the next level, you sign Black Taurus, fucking put a big old stamp or a bow on it.
Yeah,
you're done.
Or have Taurus come out and just wreck Luchasaurus, and it's just fucking Jungle Boy and Taurus,
Beast and Beast.
All right,
let's go singles matches. Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley. Banger.
It's got to be Bryan, so these two become lovers or just friends or whatever's going on here.
They have to spill blood, though.
Yeah,
blood must be spilled.
Yep.
When I unsheath the knife that I keep in my boot, I cannot return it until blood has been spilled. That's from 40-Year-Old Virgin, by the way. Yeah, Bryan Danielson for sure is my pick in this.
Yep.
He's been killing everybody.
Dave?
Yeah, same, bro. Same.
Okay.
Bryan.
All right. We know that.
Lightning round.
We don't need to talk anything about that. Jericho versus Eddie Kingston.
Eddie up.
Yes.
Jericho.
Oh.
Eddie.
I'm feeling Eddie Kingston. I think Jericho's let him going to go over. I really do. I feel like he hyped it too much there's too much for Eddie Kingston to lose in this, and Jericho not so much. All right. That's all. All right. Good talk. Face of the Revolution ladder match.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Wardlow, Hobbs, Starks, Cassidy, Ethan Page, Christian Cage, and TBD.
Isn't this the one that Scorpio won last time?
That was the ring something. Brass
the other
ring.
thing they never did.
Yeah, but no, Beak. Okay, listen. He won the previous one. He had a match. He lost. Bob's
and then he disappeared off television for the rest of the time.
Yeah, this is the new one.
Yeah, just making sure. These things don't seem to pan out too far. But I think TBD wins. I hear that guy's pretty good.
TBD.
That might be Philip.
I've seen him listed as TBA in other places, so I don't know.
Is this another Johnny Five Skulls, like Johnny Five Skulls?
That's what he would call him in the Indies, TBA.
Yeah, TBA is his old.
I haven't watched Dynamite, and I don't know what's on tap for.
Who is it going to be? Who's the TBD person? Is it Cesaro?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is it going to be a surprise Wyatt? This weekend?
Bray Wyatt.
I think it's probably going to be like Cheeseburger from like ROH.
Showcase.
Well, that's a disappointment.
Honestly,
is it Danhausen? Is Danhausen healthy yet?
They probably would announce him if it was Danhausen.
That's a good point. It'd be a bit foolish to keep him.
I honestly don't have the foggiest guess. I'm going to say Keith Lee just because he's new and they want to keep the train running for the guy.
Keith Lee, I agree. I second that.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be Keith Lee also.
Josh?
I'm gonna throw one out of left field. I'm gonna say Ethan Page.
No, that's
wrong. Get the fuck out of here.
Wrong. I'm not a believer in the face of the revolution. So that's.
Ethan Page would make sense because he is tag team partners with Scorpio. Maybe Scorpio helps him win it, so they can do it.
That's kind of where I was going with it.
No.
All right, guys. Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa.
Baker.
I think Thunder Rosa gets her just due this time.
Thunder Rosa.
Okay.
There's a lot of songs in AEW that just say the person's name in it. That's funny to me.
That was awesome because it's crazy that she has like a metal song. She's like this. Like, I don't know. She's just awesome all around.
No, it totally reminds me of a song that would be playing by one of the bands at Lucha Underground up on the riser up there on the top, you know?
I'm going to say Thunder Rosa up.
Well, you're all wrong. It's Britt Baker. Britt Baker was the answer you were looking for.
Yeah.
She's been champion too long. Thunder Rosa's time to shine.
I will say of everybody that's been champion here, Britt Baker is the most likely to lose hers, I feel like. Because she's been champion
for quite some time.
Hot man.
So, all right. You know what? You convinced me. Thunder Rosa. I picked Thunder Rosa. I was wrong.
Who you guys got with these CM Punk versus MJF? Or
can we just talk about the MJF promo for a minute? Because I don't think we've had a chance to bring that up. That promo was incredible. And I say that because I think B said it at one point, like it's obvious what he's trying to do there, right? But if it was another wrestling company, it would have been way more transparent. They would have blown their load in the one night. They would have done whatever then. Like, I don't really feel like necessarily he was lying, but it's MJF. So why in the world would he do that unless he was just totally trying to play on CM Punk's emotions and use it again?
Did you watch today's?
I didn't.
Dynamite? Okay, that's why.
I was busy doing other podcasts.
They basically he did turn on him, but it didn't deny whether or not he was telling the truth before. All that stuff could have been true, but it also could be to lull CM Punk into a false sense of security. Because really, the crux of the thing is whether or not Max actually felt abandoned by CM Punk taking off. Like, that's the thing that he was really trying to press, and the emotional connection that he had with Punk leaving. That's why he felt terrible, but that's where he was pulling the fucking strings, and so felt
emotional damage.
But it's
tonight they came out and hugged each other, and then after the hug, and it was like hilarious. Punk put his hand out, and Max just buried his face in his chest and hugged him, and then looked up a little bit. Then backed up, kicked him in the balls. And then they beat the shit out of him and bloodied him and choked him with a collar. But
they hung him. They legit hung him.
The promo itself is brilliant. Like, I like it. It was well done. And who cares if it's obvious that what was going to happen? It didn't matter.
It was the lying about our connection with him, right? Like he was like, I'm a wrestling fan too, just like you guys. And then he brings this stuff up, and it's from a perspective that we felt, even if you didn't feel it about CM Punk, there was most likely a person that you felt it about at some point, right? There was someone that walked away. Like, it's weird. Wrestling is so different like that, where like every time someone that you really were a big fan of walks away, it almost erodes your ability to be a fan as much as you were before. It almost makes you feel like I'm not going to get hurt anymore. For me, it was all these guys, right? Like, but I think like for me, like for instance, Shibata retiring made me not want to watch New Japan anymore. Like, I felt like I was just done, you know. And
that's like sad.
Like Brian Danielson retiring when he had to retire. Like, it just felt like I don't want to love this thing as much because it hurts when this happens. So I don't want to get hurt. So I don't want to like fanboy someone as much as I did like Brian Danielson or some of the other people that have walked away. Mine was stone cold, but there was no big speech.
HBK.
It was just the walk away, it was just the fact he was gone and didn't come back kind of deal with him. That's
Sean hurt his back and left, and then I thought I'd never see him wrestle again.
Yeah. Y'all got a going away speech. I didn't even get that with my guy. So
I was hoping everybody who likes CM Punk would have their moment that I had when Shawn Michaels came back, because it was so awesome. But
yeah.
The best thing about it is, like, Max, even though, let's just say everything was true, it's a heel origin story or a villain origin story. That's what it comes down to. And it's like comic.
You created me. It's very Batman Joker-esque, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, MJF went as far as to say, like, he is the devil, right? And the devil came from a lie, so to speak. So he's really embodying that spirit and really just running with it. So therefore, yes, MJF is a liar, and he'll stoop to any low to make sure that he gets his way at this point.
Yeah, even if it means revealing terrible things about himself. Like, yeah, fucking it.
Yeah, like what Beach said, he lulled him into a false sense of security and then struck.
I imagine the actual Max. I don't know if Max, the guy who does the gimmick, had people throw coins at him, but I feel the Max character that occurred to him, and that pissed him off so much that he strove to be this guy, and he became a huge dickhead because of it. And hey, I think Max is fucking rad. I sent him a DM saying, dude, that was fucking beautiful, and he heart emoji'd back to me.
There you go. Well, and I think your friend Max is going to get his ass kicked.
He's going to be owned. I think he wins.
Coming out.
I think he wins. Side. MJF for me. MJF up.
Josh.
Yeah, as far as making predictions go, yeah, I do think it's ultimately going to be MJF, but I think that's going to be such a big moment because they're just setting it up so much to make it look like CM Punk just has to come back from this and he has to put this guy in his place. Like, that whole lulling him into a sense of false security or whatever. Like, I didn't see any stuff tonight, but last week, like when CM Punk came out at the end of the promo and was, asking him off mic, was that real and all that stuff? Like, holy crap, man. That just it hit me so hard. And then what happened tonight heading into this weekend. Wow. But yeah, I think ultimately, as far as just from a, stepping back wrestling perspective, this is MJF's moment. MJF has been on a tear in AEW, and it's going to culminate in this, and it's only going to lead him to a championship eventually.
Well, the way Dynamite, words of Gilbert Gottfried, you fool! All right, Neo, your turn.
Well, I really think it's going to be CM Punk because I think CM Punk is going to get a win over this one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a man of reason.
He was so because the way the Dynamite ended, he was beat so badly. It almost makes sense that he makes a comeback. But I think they're going to be giving MJF the one over Punk. I think Punk wants
Standard rule of promoting: the person that just got beat up has to come back. That's the way it's
exactly.
It's got to work this way.
I think they're going to flip.
Last match: Hangman, Hungman, Adam Page versus Adam Cole. Baby, you know it's all about the boom.
I say shenanigans is the end. I say we do not see a victor on this one, and we have a rematch of the same match on the next pay-per-view. But
Adam versus Adam.
Yeah. I just can't see them having Adam Cole beat Page this early in the run. But I also, if they're pushing Cole to the top right now, it would be weird for them to have him lose. So if nobody loses, they can at least keep what's going on to the next pay-per-view.
Can we do an Adam on the pole match? Like, they don't have to be on the pole, but like maybe just the name Adam is hanging from a pole.
One of them has to just become Cole, and the other one or become Page. And then Dallas Page is going to show up, and then we're going to have a whole nother shenanigans going on.
Hit him with a diamond cutter, give a fucking bang to the crowd.
Like, you know, you lost Page. Who the fuck are you, dude?
Oh, this is golden booking. Adam Hangman Page wins this match. Not Adam Cole's time yet. But I do like the idea of all of them winning belts and holding them at the end of the show.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I can't get that out of my head. I don't think I'm with Meek ultimately. Again, I don't think I think shenanigans will happen. I think Page wins by DQ of some sort. And yes, this turns into a long-term Adam v. Adam feud, which ultimately will end up with Cole holding the belt and Red Dragon holding the belts, and maybe Dr. Britt Baker still has that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's hot.
Wow, that is hot, dude.
The icing on the cake was hot,
motherfucker.
Oh, they already get married?
I don't know, but he can dip her and give her a kiss while they both have their belts in their arm at the end of the show.
Yeah, it'd be so romantic.
How dare you sway my fantasy booking, Joshua?
Yeah, Red Dragon comes out with crowns for them. It gives them little prom king and queen crowns,
and they all stand there, all four of them with belts.
Yeah, that's a fucking hot.
If not this weekend, that'll be in a few months at the next show.
Oh, okay. Well, I like it. I like it a lot, and I want to take back everything I said that didn't equal up to that outcome. So
yeah, I believe in Josh booking now.
Yeah, I believe in Josh booking. All right, well, that's going to be a fun show, and I can't wait to watch that.
Hey, man, Josh agreed with me.
Wait, what? Nobody agreed with you. No, nobody. No,
everything.
I like how Josh goes, I agree with me, and then everyone's like, I agree with Josh.
No, shut up, Big, you idiot. Stop trying to steal Josh's idea.
What are you drinking, Josh?
Yeah.
I'm drinking a Bodhisattva from Georgetown.
All right, change it. Let's move on.
Nice. That was smooth.
Weird, awkward interaction moment. Guys, winners of the week. Let's do it. Let's wrap this shit up, shall we? Josh, I'll start with you because you deserve it.
I'm gonna go with MJF based off of last week and the build for this whole match. Like, it's fantastic. I know Page and Cole's the main event, but for me, this is the real main event. I'm stoked. I've loved everything about it thus far, and a dog collar match, like, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be awesome.
It was a great. I loved the reveal. Everything about it, every segment that they've had has been very good with this. Beak.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with personal friend of mine, Finn Balor, who won the United States Championship on Raw.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And Damian Priest is now Damian.
Yeah, and then Damian instantly turned heel. Like, everyone, no one rooted for me. Bullshit.
Yeah, drop of that. He had all of PR behind him, and then like, nobody.
I know the entire island was behind you. Not to mention the fact that, like, you really think you're going to go up against Finn's bulge and win? Come on, come on. That's a popularity contest. We all lose.
It's incredible.
Neo, your winner of the week.
It didn't happen this week, but it happened like a week ago. Hijo de Vikingo. He defended his title against Johnny Superstar.
Incredible, by the way.
Yeah.
He is a fucking human highlight reel for sure.
Exactly. He had like a phenomenal match against Johnny Superstar, a.k.a. John Morrison, a.k.a. John Hennigan. Or
Johnny Caballero.
Johnny Caballero. Man, I can't say, like you said, man, there's no bad thing about Vikingo yet. So, the Vikingo train keeps pushing. I hope that he and Kenny Omega get their match very soon. So shout outs to Omega. Keep on healing, brother. But ultimately, Vikingo has been my winner thus far.
He is rad as shit.
He is radish.
He is radish. Well, I'm gonna give mine to Tony Khan. Is who I'm gonna give mine to, because Tony Khan bought the Ring of Honor company. He is now. I think the one thing AEW was missing was honestly like a lineage, and somehow by now doing this, what they've done, they have created a lineage for AEW that now kind of spans back a bit further for their purposes, right? I mean,
it really comes full circle when you really think about it, kind of like what we said in the beginning, where ROH kind of helped propel the first All Out, and it's makes sense that you're going to buy your quote unquote competition. I honestly, hopefully they use it as a way to propel some sort of streaming service, because how awesome would it be if we can just go back and watch some of those archives?
I think that's going to be what we see, but I think besides that, it gives them lots of options on what they can do right now, and I think they just I hope that they're creative with it, right? More creative than WWE was with it when they acquired WCW, right? I would like to see Ring of Honor live on in some way, in some other form. I'd like to see the name carry on. I'd like to see it still be part of, wrestling.
Don't rush to the invasion. Like, if you're going to eventually do an invasion, wait a while. Let the other company thrive for a little bit and then do that. Like, there's no reason to rush to it. And you're right about TK, dude. Like, awesome, dude. Tonight, he even put Danielson in the ring with Christopher Daniels, who were two members of the very first Ring of Honor main event, kind of as a tribute to the whole ROH thing. So, yeah, TK clearly loves wrestling, and acquiring ROH is just, to him, I think, just showing appreciation for it as a company, and like clearly he wants to keep it alive, at least in people's minds, depending on whether or not he actually runs it as a separate company or not.
And I think, I don't know, man, it's, again, not trying to give out any spoilers on Batman, but the one thing about it is that you definitely have people that love the Thing in charge. And I guess I could say I saw Jon Favreau is getting a huge deal now with Lucas, for everything that he's done with the Mandalorian stuff. And it's like, that's the stuff I love to see, is where people really love the thing they're doing. And because of their love for it, they make the product really good, and it makes it better than it's ever been. I don't know about AEW, and I don't know about there is a big part of AEW that reminds me a bit of like Netflix, right? Where Netflix basically operated in the red for so long until they could like basically form their own network, like they have with their shows and the stuff that they're doing. But I just don't know if they're financially viable, and that's kind of the thing that's still up in the air. AEW just continues to do things that seem to be very expensive for a new company, yet they have a packed house, and they are on TV, and they tour, and they do all of that stuff. So, all I can do is tip, my cap to him as far as everything they've done. And I kind of believe in what they're doing, I really do. So shout out to him, and shout out to Big Seasoning, by the way.
Big Seasoning.
Your beef, chicken, fish, and even your vegetables for far too long.
Hopefully they don't hear about this podcast and come after us. We support you, Big Seasoning. Get off our backs.
I don't. I just want people to know that they control their narrative, and they can control their nutrition.
The best thing about that group is they are allowing. There's a thing called a rant room where they are giving you 90 seconds.
We didn't even talk about the rant room.
Yell at your favorite wrestler, and say whatever you want without any repercussions. Like, they know what they're fucking doing.
They know exactly what they're doing, right? That's the thing that's so weird about this. They know exactly what they're doing.
Bastards.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much for listening to us rant for this very long episode of the Steel Cage Podcast, episode 461. You can get us all on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Neo is at the Neo X with an ECKS at the end. Beak is at James Vanderbeek. He's one of two James Vanderbeek, so you can find him. Good luck with that. And of course, Josh is at Schlizag with two Z's, but all roads lead to at the Steel Cage. And of course, we want you to send us an email over at podcast@thesteelcage.com and check out our shop at thesteelcageshop.com. Buy one of our wonderful shirts there, the King of Soft Style. Most importantly, go to pentagonzo.com and check out Uncle Beak's old-timey t-shirt shoppy for all of his amazing designs. There's no guarantee on how long any of them will be up. So technically, they're all limited editions, and they all may or may not be available for a limited time.
Yeah.
Also, Unfunny Nerd Tangent. They're going to be covering the Batman movie I can't stop my talking about. So I don't go out to premieres often, so I get excited when I go see movies early.
This reminds me of Batman.
I'm sure, as well as other things.
Angle reminds me of something that happened in Batman.
It's a Batman. It's the new My Wife is the Batman. But definitely check out Unfunny Nerd Tangent once that drops. We appreciate you guys checking out the show. Thank you so much for listening to episode 461 of the Steel Cage Podcast. And remember, kids, control your nutrition. Big Seasoning is out to get you.